anybody hear me? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Quaz, and this is the Quazemoto Show. I am flying solo today. It's been a long time since I did a show, mostly because I've been busy and then trying to coordinate a show with D, and he's busy, so we just couldn't coordinate and get a show done. We tried, but it just didn't happen. But anyways, I told myself, I haven't done a show in almost a month, so I had to get at least one out there. I'm slowly starting to get a following. People are listening to the show more, and people are sending emails and everything saying, when you're going to do a new show. So to answer your emails, here's a new show. All right, lots going on. As you know, your boy has been busy, mostly with work, and then also with travel. Went up to New York City a couple times, Atlantic City and whatnot, just with the family and stuff. And then now I'm just gearing up for the NFL season. That's another reason I wanted to have a show done, because the NFL preseason kicked off, and I was so happy. I was watching games this weekend. I watched my Cowboys take on the LA Rams, which always is exciting, even if it's preseason. You're watching a bunch of football guys that are going to be on the streets come September. Majority of them. It was always exciting. Always exciting watching football, even if it's preseason football, just because it's been such a long time since we had any real live NFL or even college football action. February, that was when the Super Bowl was. So always excited right around this time of year. I don't have any early predictions, either college or NFL. Right now, if I had to pick off the top of my head for the NFL, I'm going to go with the Cowboys, and I'm not being biased. I don't know, if people would have heard this recording a year ago, I probably said the same shit. But the key is Romo. If Romo stays healthy, Cowboys have a very good chance. I see a Cowboys-Green Bay rematch in the playoffs, but this time in the NFC Championship, with the Cowboys winning it. If Romo is healthy and the Cowboys are kicking on all cylinders. I also like what I saw in Dak Prescott, the rookie selection for the Cowboys. He was playing against the Rams, and he played for a good chunk, and he showed a lot of good things. So I'm not saying if Romo goes down, Cowboys will be in good hands, but if Cowboys are healthy and Romo's is healthy, I think Cowboys have a decent chance of getting to the Super Bowl for the NFC. In the AFC, there's no chance in hell that the Broncos are going to repeat. Now with Peyton gone, and they got Sanchez as their quarterback, and he's the co-starter with whoever. So their defense will keep them in a lot of games, but Broncos aren't going to repeat. They're not even going to repeat as division champs, and I'd be surprised if they make the playoffs. But any other expert will tell you the same shit. But I do like Oakland in the AFC West. I do like Kansas City. They'll probably be the divisional winners. San Diego, I don't even know. They're marginal at best. AFC, other than New England, I don't see anyone else really coming out and being a threat to stop New England from getting to their 7th Super Bowl under the Brady-Belichick regime. Yes, Brady, he won't play the first 4 games of the NFL season, but they're in good hands with Garoppolo. I was watching the preseason against the Saints, and he looked okay. I think they'll be in good hands. Because give Belichick and the other coaches credit. They can scheme probably the very best at scheming a game plan to fit the needs of their players. No Brady, okay, we're gonna build on Garoppolo's strength and take away his weaknesses, and they'll be okay. Who's gonna challenge the Patriots? What, Steelers? Indianapolis with Andrew Luck. Houston is a big question mark. Miami's mediocre. Buffalo sucks. Jets, maybe a wild card team. Then, who else? The Bungles, Who else in the AFC can legitimately challenge the Patriots? There's not much, not many. So I'm looking at a Cowboys-Patriots Super Bowl, which will be exciting as hell. Now I know a lot of people are going to say, what about the Seahawks? What about the Giants? Etc. Those teams haven't really impressed me. They haven't really done shit. As long as Green Bay has Aaron Rodgers and the Cowboys have got Tony Romo, that's your championship. And it's going to be Patriots against fill in the blank in the championships. And I see a Patriots Cowboys Super Bowl. That's me. That's my very early off the top of my head NFL prediction for college football, which I absolutely love. I do see my Florida Gators going deep. And again, I'm not being biased. We had a strong, surprising season last year where we won the SEC East and we went to the championship game. Of course, we got throttled by Alabama, but I think this year we're going to be a lot stronger, a lot deeper, a lot better, especially at the weak positions, quarterback and etc. Defense is going to be solid. Offense, if they can get it together, we might be contending late. We're not going to be early contenders, but we're going to be right around late October, November. We're going to start to move up in the polls and threatening for one of the Final Four spots. Do I see Alabama repeating? No. It's just not in their MO. They're going to come across one or two tough games where they're going to have to play a dynamic quarterback or a running back that Nick Saban and his defense just doesn't have an answer for, and they're going to lose a game or two. And in college football, 2-game loss, you just can't get a playoff spot. Who else do I see then? LSU with their beast of a running back, whose name I just can't remember. Clemson will be back in it, and Michigan State will be in it. Not Michigan State, sorry, Michigan. They just look like the way their coach Harbaugh's got them playing. He has them drinking the Kool-Aid, and they're gonna beat Michigan State. They're gonna beat Ohio State, the two biggest threats in the Big 12, and they're gonna get a spot. Do I see teams like Oklahoma or Houston or any independents or outside the one of the big conferences getting a spot? Notre Dame maybe, but they just so up and down. Every year it's so up and down. They're not consistent. Not consistent like a team should be, like an Alabama or an Ohio State. It's just very up and down. Do I see a team like University of Houston getting a spot? Maybe. TCU? Maybe. Those teams, even though TCU is, part of the Big Ten, they really have to be perfect to get a playoff spot. Because, if they're 10-1 or whatever, if they have one loss, the biased college football commission, they're going to pick a 2-loss Alabama before they pick a 1-loss TCU, or even a perfect TCU or a perfect BYU, for that matter. I don't really see anyone out in the Pac-10 threatening to do anything. Oregon's gone downhill ever since the coach left, Chip Kelly. USC's a shell of its former self ever since Pete Carroll and the boys left. So no one in the Pac-10. People are going to say Stanford. What about Stanford? They're not a big threat. So Final Four, early Final Four. I'll say Clemson gets a spot. I'll say Michigan gets a spot. I'll say my Gators, they get a spot, and LSU, and that's it. All right, that's your Final Four. It'll be LSU, Michigan against Clemson, Florida. And, I'll be honest, Clemson's a strong team. I have them as my early favorites to win it all, with the Clemson-Michigan final and Clemson winning it all. Yeah, I know, I'm going, doing the traditional safe pick. What about a, surprise team, black horse team, dark horse team, whatever. I really don't know yet. Not until the season starts and I get a feel for a lot of the teams and how they're playing. We'll have a good insight as to who's a real threat and who's a pretender. But yeah, Alabama won't repeat, and neither will the Broncos. So much going on in the world of politics. Donald Trump. This dude is literally just shooting himself in the foot with the shit he says almost on a constant, daily basis. This motherfucker is going around talking about, hey, Second Amendments, get your gun and go kill Hillary. I know that's not what he said. And, if you ask him and his team, oh, no, that's not what he said. But it's suggested, it's implied. What else are you supposed to make of it? I mean, Hillary, she's just doing her campaign. Hillary's doing it, Bill's doing it, Obama's doing it, Biden's doing it, Sanders is doing it. They're just doing their thing, and they're just, securing the key states, the states up for grabs. And it's going to be a cakewalk for Hillary. If you ever wanted to take an easy bet, a sure win, almost a guarantee, take Hillary in November over Donald Trump. If people could bet on it, Vegas would allow it. A lot of people would take Hillary. But we all know the system's rigged, and anything can really happen. I don't trust the government, the government establishment at all. But don't get it wrong. Don't get me wrong as an anti-American. I'm very pro-American. I just don't like the government and the shady shit it does. And then you're going to say, well, why are you voting at all? Because you got to vote. It's your civic duty. If you don't, you might as well be saying, I don't count. You're throwing away your vote. And I've always said this before, I'm taking the lesser of the two evils. I'm taking Hillary Clinton. The government and these candidates, they're all rip-off artists, man. They don't work for middle America. They don't work for the destitute Americans. They work for big corporation and Wall Street. As long as big corporation and Wall Street is happy filling their pockets and getting the political establishment to do what they want, that's how the government rolls. I mean, in the last 10, 15, 20 years, has there been any real reform against big corporations and even Wall Street? Has there been any reeling in, saying, hey, what's going on here? No. There's always, these corporations just get away with robbing America. And it's sad. It's a sad state. That's why America is suffering the way it is, with homelessness, joblessness, it's, people on Social Security, not on Social Security, welfare and whatnot, because they had no other shit to do, there's no jobs being available and whatnot. It's a sad state, and, I don't envision Hillary going to office and making any change when her and her foundation does the exact same shit. The Clinton Foundation, but you can't give up. You can't say fuck it, because what are you gonna do? You're gonna give up and just let this country go to shit? No, you can't. You have to fight. You have to voice your opinion. You have to do what it needs to be done to make a change, make a difference, get this shit turned around. Me speaking on it, hopefully, will wake up a lot of listeners and say, you know what? Yeah, he might be right. Government, along with the big corporations, Wall Street, is robbing America blind, and we need to do something about it. Jesse Ventura, if you guys remember, he used to be former governor of Minnesota, and before that he was a WWF wrestler, and before that he was a U.S. Navy SEAL. He posted a video not too long ago that I saw on Facebook, and I think I posted it on my Facebook page, so check it out, about how the government should install a maximum wage limit. You know how there's a minimum wage? That's always a big issue. Why are big corporations fighting so hard for a minimum wage? Because they have to pay all their employees so much, right? Why not a maximum wage? Why not we cap a maximum wage on these owners and CEOs of big corporations and even Wall Street? Why can't, when Governor Ventura's, his suggestion was cap them at 100 million. I mean, really, what are you going to do with the $1 billion? 2 billion, 3 billion. How much is enough for these greedy motherfuckers? You know, people that are sitting around with 2 billion, it's like, that's not enough, I need 3 billion. 3 billion is not enough, I need 4 billion. And it's a goddamn shame that there are people homeless and starving and penniless in the same America where you have billionaires sitting on a pile of wealth. I feel almost ashamed when I walk by a homeless person and I know I got $10 in my pocket and I know I should give him at least half. Give him $5, you know. I pass a homeless person, I give him what I can. I give him $1, I give him $2, I give him $5. I'm not a rich guy, but I know that $5, yeah, he might smoke it away, he might drink it away, but look at the hope it instills for him. At least maybe for an hour, 2 hours. I got $5 in my pocket. You know how empowering that is? Imagine what can happen if America, the government, and even the rich elite decide to empower its own. You know, let's raise the minimum tax and let's not let our employees fight for $7, $10, $12, whatever they're fighting for. You know, let's give them $30 an hour. Make America great like that. I don't hear Donald Trump saying that shit. I don't hear Hillary Clinton saying that shit because they're not fighting for us. They go to office, whoever goes to office, they're working for the government and they're working for corporate America and Wall Street. That's who they're working for. That's who's going to sign their checks and stuff money in their pockets. Trump, in the back of his mind, he knows he has no chance in hell of winning this thing. But he knows with the free publicity he's getting on a daily basis, the Trump brand benefits and profits. You know? It's as simple as that, folks. You know? They're not working for us. Government does not work for us. It doesn't. It works for the interests of big corporations and Wall Street. Plain and simple, and the period. Alright? You have to do what you have to do to empower yourself. No one else is going to help you. You know? You might be down on your luck. Tell yourself, what can I do to change my luck? What can I, alone, myself, do to change my luck? It's not hopeless. It can be done. Believe me, your boy, he's seen a lot worse days. Alright? I've been down. I've been knocked out. I've been kicked. You know? But I got myself up. You know? And I'm truly grateful each and every single day for everything that I have. I don't take it for granted. But at the same time, I cannot turn a blind eye to the injustices going on in this world. That's my phone. It keeps ringing. My phone's ringing. I'm driving, doing this podcast. I know it's dangerous and I might get into an accident, but that's how dedicated your boy is. You know? Let's get off the heavy shit. I don't know if any of y'all have been watching, but I've been watching Big Brother. Big fan of Big Brother. And right now, it's gotten to the point where it's so good. So good. You know? For a long time now, I don't know if anyone follows this, but I'm just going to spew it like you guys are. For a long time now, one of the house guests, Paulie, brother of Cody, who was on Big Brother a couple seasons ago, he was pretty much running the show. You know, he was running head of household. If he wasn't running head of household, he had the ears of the people that were head of household. And he would, you know, pretty much dictate, you know, who's leaving that week, right? However, the last week or so, Paulie got called out on his bullshit by a number of house guests. And when that happened, Paulie did not know how to handle it. So he just blew up. He just started attacking. And people saw him for his true colors. And when the evil Paulie came out. It was just so funny. And then what happened was Victor wins his second head of household in 3 weeks, and he does another big move. And puts Paulie and his boy Corey up on the block for eviction. And it was just so fucking funny to see Paulie get a dose of his own medicine, and he's sitting in the diary room crying. Wah! He put me up. Wah! He put up my boy Corey. Wah! It's just fun. That's the good stuff in Big Brother. That's the stuff I sit around for Wednesday night and Thursday night and Sunday night to see these people just squirm. When it wasn't happening to them, they were acting like they were Jesus and walking on water and shit. But when it does happen to them, they're squirming, they're lashing out, they're crying, and they're just throwing everyone under the bus and shit. So it's just a lot of fun to see. People, if you get a chance, please watch Big Brother. It's one of my favorite shows. I watch it every summer. I'll be honest, that's the only thing that holds me over until football season begins. Because Big Brother runs from July to end of September somewhere. And it's just so much fun. I did watch Independence Day Resurgence. It sucked. The fam, they watched, What Pets Do When They're Alone. I fell asleep. It sucked. For some reason, it's a kids movie. Kids loved it, But there's no real good movies I'm looking forward to. It's been a down summer for movies, right? All the good movies they came out in March and April and May. Civil War and Batman versus Superman and X-Men Apocalypse, which is highly underrated. It went under the radar. A very good movie, The Eye in the Sky. But other than that, no real major blockbuster. People say, well, what about Finding Dory and all that shit? I haven't seen Finding Dory, but I will. But that's not to say, I don't know. Let me know what are some good movies to check out, because I haven't found any yet. But anyways, wife's calling, so I'm gonna wrap up the show. Until next time, I'm not sure when next time will be, but until next time, this is your boy Quaz, and I'm sure Donnie sends his greetings and salutations if he was here, but he's not. This is the Quazemoto Show. I have gotten your emails. I've been reading them, and again, I might just dedicate a show simply to reading emails. But that's it. Keep your emails coming. Follow me on Facebook. Listen to me on YouTube, Tumblr, Twitter, all that good shit. Peace.